I'm waiting. I don't know if we're live or not because it still hasn't popped up over there on YouTube. That's kind of strange. Oh, there it goes. It's popping up over there on YouTube right now. So, good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. Almost said scrolling with Russ. It come really close to coming out. But going to have a good show this afternoon or this evening. We're going to have Michael Mathews on, and he's going to do some pyrography, wood burning. We're going to talk all about that. I just had met Brenda here in the last few months or so, or not even months, since the first of the year, I guess. And she's also does some wood burning also. But I'd asked Michael back in October when I saw him up at the Klingspor extravaganza. Him and I had talked back and forth on Facebook a few times and messaged, but that was the first time that I actually got to see him and meet him was up at the Klingspor extravaganza. So I invited him after the first of the year, and here we are. He's here. So we'll go ahead and talk about my wonderful sponsors here real quick. Get my pad up here, and they are Devobal Technologies for web design, development, hosting. Go to devobal.com. They do my website and some of the other people's on the channel or on the panel websites. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. And Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company. Your best choice for hard-to-find woodworking supplies, go to bearwood.com. They supply me with my Pegasus scroll saw blades, and I'm really happy with them. They work really great, and I use them over there on Scrolling with Russ on Twitch on Wednesday nights. So, and Klingspor, the sanding specialist, woodworkingshop.com. Just because they say they're the sanding specialist, which they are, they have a lot more stuff at the woodworkingshop.com, lathe tools and all other kind of stuff. And Seiko, the newest, the scroll saw specialist. They have provided me with an ST21 scroll saw, and I am loving it. And that's what I'm using on the Scrolling with Russ over on Twitch TV on Wednesday nights. Having a great time over there. So let's go ahead and, because I'm sure it's going to be kind of a long show. I don't really have any announcements right now at this time that I can think of. Paul was in the pre-show, and he's out there in the chat. I just want to say hi, Paul. He is, he had his neck surgery. That's the reason he's on the show. And lo and behold, within 24 hours or whatever of having his neck surgery, his wife fell and broke her pelvis. So she's been in the hospital, and I think she's now going to a rehab place so that she can get better, so she can come home. But bless her heart. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. That's really sad. And the only other thing that I would like to say, and I normally don't do this, I've only done it for a few things that I think are really, really great. And one of them is Joseph Poindexter. His little cat Zoe had to have a blood transfusion, and he's asking for some help. And Joseph has been a great supporter of me. He's from the scrolling. He's always on Facebook commenting, and he's always talking about my show and everything. So it's over on. He's all over Facebook. Just type in Joseph Poindexter over on Facebook, and I'll try to get the link for his GoFundMe over there, and because there's a GoFundMe out for Zoe and Joseph over there, and I think you did that for me the other night. If you get a chance, if not, I will to grab the link off of GoFundMe and put it over there in the chat section also, so everybody can see it. Hey, $5 or $10, it doesn't matter. It would help out. Trust me. It's his little cat's blood transfusion is $1,500. That's a lot of money, guys. And I know Patrick's dog had to have something similar to that here. Patrick over at Patrick's Wood Shop, Ice. She had to have something like that. Everybody got together and helped him out. So I don't normally like to do this, but in the same aspect, there are certain people out there that have supported me and are really good friends of mine, and I like to help them out any way that I can. So I will, if Paul or Al can't get the link over there, if he has trouble posting it, I will definitely get it on there or put it in there for y'all. Like I said, if you can help out, I'd appreciate it. So, all right, so let's move on and let's go ahead and get into everybody as far as introducing yourself. And we will start on my right this time, and we'll let Shane and Shelly Cole go first.
And by the way, the link is out there for the Zoe.
Yep. He was able. Odessa. It's under Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop. He just posted it over there in the chat section. Like I said, if y'all can help out, if you can't, I understand. Don't get me wrong, but if you have a couple extra bucks and you would like to donate, you know, that would be a good thing. So, you know, pets. In all sincerity, I've had a bunch of them in my entire life. I had a dog named Dino. He was my best friend when I was a kid growing up. And so pets can be just like a family member. It's just as important to you as anybody else. So, and I take that into consideration. So thank you, everybody out there. So let's go to Shane and Shelly.
Hi, everyone. And my channel for YouTube is Know It Mom Knows. Many of you know me as Mom. My name is Shelly Cole. And I'm wearing my green screen shirt because I did lots of green screen filming today. It was a lot of fun. And so here's my handsome husband. Nice to be here. Thanks, Russell.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shane. You can find me on all your social media networks under Shane's Hobby Shop. I also got a website through Devobal. It is shane'shobbyshop.com. Got some free plans on there for you to download. Got a bunch of things all over my social media network, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Find me on all of those under Shane's Hobby Shop. And I also like to give a shout out to a very special subscriber of mine. Her name is Becky. She's over there at Becky's Texas Wood Shop. She actually had a shop incident, and she cut a couple of her fingers, had to go to the hospital today to get some stitches. And she told me she got 8 stitches in her fingers. So if I just keep her in your prayers, if you do that. And Becky, if you're watching this, I hope you recover soon.
Love you, Becky.
Was it like just stitches? No, like surgery didn't do really bad damage, just regular stitches?
She just told me just stitches.
Okay, cool.
8 stitches. I don't know if that's per finger or both of them together. I don't know.
8 stitches is a lot of stitches. Even if you did that four per finger, it's still a lot of stitches.
Yeah, it is.
All right, and then next is my good friend, and he's back. My cohort in crime, the other Russ Meadows.
Hey guys, yes, I am Russ, the other Russ, the better looking Russ. You might not have me on after saying that. Rusty Nails Wood Shop is where you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and just a bare minimum of YouTube.
Cool. Somebody said, Shelly, you were ready for St. Patrick's Day with your green on out there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep. And then Al Forte.
I just have to find that button up there. I'm Al Forte with Odessa Woodworking on Facebook, Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop on YouTube, and Kilroy79763 on Twitch. Great to be here. Thank you for the invite. Great to see everybody. Well, I guess I'm not seeing anybody out there, you guys. I see your texts back and forth. Looking forward to the show. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Ken from Moon Pie Creations.
Hey, Russ. Thanks for having me on. Ken Moon from Moon Pie Creations. You can find me over on YouTube for Moon Pie Creations. Facebook, you can find me there at Moon Pie Creations, or Ken Moon if you want. Yeah, that's about it.
Cool. And then Jim Bashirs.
Hi, I'm Jim Bashirs from Driveway Workshop, and I'm looking forward to this show here with Michael tonight to learn how to do this burning stuff. I got a couple of cool things that came in since the last time I was on the show. I've got a man crafting mug, as Jamie would say it now, and Holly Denny made me the coolest thing in the world. Nice. The Air Force snowman with Air Force.
That is beautiful.
That is so cool, man. It's just, if you've never like really seen one of these things or up close or whatever, they are so neat. You got to get one from her.
What rank is it, Jim?
Well, it would have been a sergeant if it was me, but I don't think she's got any rank on it. And it doesn't. It's not smelling or anything, so it's not ranked that way.
It's just an airman then, huh?
Yeah, it's just just an airman. It's not an officer.
Oh, so it's not carrying golf clubs?
No, it's not. It's not.
All right,
So
now
thanks for having me back.
you're welcome. But now you're gonna have to make me go inside and find my. She made me a fireman one.
I saw it. Yeah, didn't you have it back behind over your shoulder there? On
I did, but I
the
forgot
bench?
it. But anyway, and look, nana boo boo. I got a man.
Hey, these things aren't these things great? I
Yeah,
mean,
they
I got them on my car, and they keep coffee hot.
They
all
are
the way
really
till about
great.
2 or 3 in the afternoon.
They're not only that, but I'm fascinated as to the detail work. I mean,
Yeah,
it is just,
yeah. I mean, the letters on this one are really small, but I mean, even the line here, but it's really sharp and crisp and everything. I think he just takes a powder coated thing and laser cuts it. It works great.
All right, I'll go in there and see if I can find my snowman when we get Michael going here, and bring him out and show him. So, and then Chris Ahern.
Hey guys, Chris from the Old Cranky Workshop. I'm back just as the show was about to kick off. My computer decided to run its updates. So it took me a while to get that to stop and get back on. But anyways, you can find me at the Old Cranky Workshop on Facebook and on YouTube. Shop is shut down right now. A couple more weeks and things will start warming up. I can get back out there. So.
Cool. We've been in the 80s for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. I don't want to hear about you and your air conditioner problems.
It's finally cooled off. It's finally cooled off this morning. I woke up and it was like 68, 66 or something like that. Anyway, I was going to say, Jim Jockwell posted out there in the chat, I've been burning wood all winter. It keeps me warm.
We're hanging in the high 30s, 40s now, and sometimes the 50s, but it's not constant yet. So not enough time to move all my freezables back out to the shop and set up shop again. So.
And then Brenda from Brenda G's Designs.
Thanks, Russ.
And I didn't call you Debbie.
Well, I'm Brenda G from Brenda G's Designs. You'll find me as Brenda G's Designs almost any place on the internet. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Patreon. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. Probably some other places that I'm forgetting that I'm on. So most any place you look, you'll find Brenda G's Designs.
Great. And then the man of the hour, Mr. Michael. How you doing, Michael?
I'm good. Thank you, Russ. Michael Mathews here. I'm on Facebook. I think I might have an Instagram page. And I do have a YouTube page, but there might be 1 or 2 videos.
There's actually 2. I went and looked.
Okay. They're all listed as just Michael Mathews with 1 T. You won't find me if you go searching with 2 T's. So I not only wood burn, but turn on the lathe and do all kinds of other woodworking as well. Building some kitchen cabinets at the moment for a coworker.
Cool.
So yeah.
So how long have you been wood burning? How many years or whatever?
Wood burning. I got turned on to it when I moved here to North Carolina about 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. Moved here, my tools were all in storage, and I had a carving kit with me. Found a carving club that met at the Klingspor in Raleigh. I'm in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Met in Raleigh. I started meeting with them, discovered that there was a wonderful artist and teacher who also was a wood carver that attended the meeting, that did classes. And I signed up for a class with her, bought myself a burner, and the rest is history.
Great.
So I do it all the time, whenever I can.
Yeah, when I saw you at the Klingspor up in Klingspor Extravaganza up in Hickory, I was like, wow, that's some really nice work. And you were working on a few things there. So you gave me a few pointers there. I remember one of them. One of them was when you turn your burner on, don't just go ahead and try to start burning to like put it on the wood for a few seconds and let it get an even temperature or whatever before you start to see. I remember stuff. That was one of the things you told me, and there was a couple other things that I don't remember. But anyway, so if we have any questions out there, if you have any questions for Michael, put them over in the chat. The panel will help me watch, and we'll get those to Michael and take it away.
Okay. So I'm going to jump over to the other camera here. We'll take a look at my table setup. There we go. So I'm going to scooch around here. So let's just real quick talk about equipment. My burner, I use a Coalwood Cub. I bought it from Klingspors. They actually create a bundle that, and Russ, please do stop me and let me know if that little printer in the background is making too much noise.
No, it's fine. He's just to let everybody know, he's got a 3D printer that he started and he didn't even think about it. And you'll hear it every once in a while, but it's not that distractive. Just go. I wouldn't want you to pause it for fear of messing things up. So just don't worry about it. It's fine.
So Klingspor bundles the Coalwood Cub themselves. They bundle it with a pen and I think 4 different tips. The tip remover is this guy, and they sell it for, I think, less than if you went and bought the individual components. So it's a great deal. Anyway, I bought it, took a class, and I've been going at it ever since. So there's basically 2 types of burners. This type, you could have single pen, double pen, temperature control. You also have what Brenda mentioned earlier, the walnut hollow type, which is a basically like a soldering iron with a temperature control. I don't own one. I've used them, but I'm not fond of them. These are much nicer from the standpoint of changing tips. And we'll get into changing tips in a little bit. And then there's also the other type, which I think like a Dremel makes, which is just like a soldering iron. And there's no temperature control in that one.
Yeah, they also have those type that you're talking about that looks just like a soldering iron at like Hobby Lobby and a few places. They have the different tips for the end. And I think I have one here somewhere, but there's no temperature control. I've tried using them. They're a pain in the butt.
Right. So one of the things you want to do when you buy a burner is, first thing out of the package, take your tips on a leather strop with some polishing compound and strop your tips, because the tips, if you feel them with your fingers, the tips are going to have little burrs on them, and those burrs make it difficult for moving around on the wood, catching the wood, tearing fibers, etc. So strop your tips, and typically I've only done that initially out of the box, and then after that, this is just a piece of a pair of denim jeans. While the tip's hot, that's how I clean soot off and oils that may come out of the wood, and keep right on burning. You happen to notice dirt building up on your tip.
And that's just a piece of like old jeans that you just cut off.
Yeah, that's
cool
material.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's it. So if you're throwing out a pair of blue jeans, definitely save some of it for tip cleaning.
I got a bunch of them I grew out of.
So media, there's a lot of different kinds of media. Obviously, wood is probably the first one you think of, but leather is another good one. You can burn on leather. I've got a little sample area here that, you know, we did a little demonstration playing on, and it burns a little bit different. Every different type of wood or leather or paper, even different medias burn differently. So you kind of have to have a doodle board, I call it, to practice with your tip for temperature, time or duration on the wood, speed, etc., to figure out how it's going to burn.
What question for you real quick. What do you suggest is the best media as far as wood goes? Basswood or basswood, whatever you want to call it, or pine, or what would you suggest is one of the easiest to burn on?
This is basswood. I typically will buy my basswood. I buy the 20-pound or 25-pound box of basswood, carving basswood from, I think it's Rockler. And some of it comes in blocks, and I'll cut them down into 1/2 or 5/8 or 3/4 inch thick pieces. And that's a pretty good project size piece right there. If I'm going to actually do a project on it, I will cut it to maybe 1/4 or 3/8 thick. Sorry, 1/4 or 3/8 thick, and burn my project on it, and that's the last time I'm touching that piece of wood. This piece of wood, my doodle boards, when I fill up both sides, I'll take them out into the shop and I'll run them through my drum sander, resurface both sides, and continue using the board.
That's a good idea. You call them your doodle boards just to practice on?
Yeah.
That's a very good idea. Didn't think about that.
Yeah, I typically have them, you could see them sitting over here. I typically have them sitting beside, usually they're right up against my work surface. And I will set my temperature up, give my tip 8-10 seconds to heat up, and then I will start burning on this first, so I can figure out the time, the speed. Pressure is really not critical. Just touch the wood and it's going to burn. And test it here first. So that's what you see. A lot of this stuff that oops, sorry about that.
All right.
Got to remember where the camera's at. A lot of this that you see is practice that I do on this board, and then I'll jump right to my piece, which will typically be sitting up here on this surface.
See, that's what I've been doing wrong all this time. That is like cool. I never in a million years even thought about that, to have that there and then practice and then go over to your piece. That is like so awesome.
Yeah.
And Russell, you may want to hide the panel because I think all of the boxes are.
Yeah, I thought well, if I don't, is there any way you can push the camera back towards you just a little bit?
Yeah. Hang on just a second here.
That'll put it more centered screen, and then I won't have to hide. Hey, I want the panel on the screen. I want to see all their beautiful faces,
Hide Ken Moon.
Just a little bit more. There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind hiding the panel if we have to, but I do like having those guys' faces down there. I think it's cool.
Okay. So, the other thing I was going to mention, since we talked about the wood, is I typically sand my wood to 420, 380. I give it a pretty good smooth finish because the pen will glide easier over the wood. You won't feel any grain lines. And it's much easier for the pen to glide than it is if the pen's grabbing grain.
Doggone it, second good tip. So it wouldn't even hurt if you took it above 400. I mean,
yeah,
I get what you're saying is almost burnish it so it's really, really, really smooth.
Yeah. Now, if you go above 400, I honestly, I think you may just be wasting time because it's really sufficient. 240 might even be good enough.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so
hey, Michael, if I can break in a second before you get too deep into the technique or whatever, Tracy Keaton out in the chat asked what you think was the best value package for a wood burner out there.
Well, I'm partial to Klingspor for other reasons, but if you're happy or if you can get by with the Walnut Hollow, that's definitely, Brenda probably can tell us what a Walnut Hollow unit costs roughly.
What does your unit run roughly from Klingspor, the price?
Mine, I think I paid right around 130 for it.
That's actually not bad at all.
No.
I believe my Walnut Hollow ran right around $79, $80.
Wow.
And then I bought extra tips and stuff for it. But I usually buy from places where I go in with a discount, with a coupon where I can get a percentage off of my entire order. And I'm getting a whole bunch of stuff when I go in at one time. So if you just go in to buy it, I think they're right around $80.
Okay.
Still, I mean, even 130 or 140, that's pretty reasonable for what you're getting.
Right. Gourds. Gourds are another great medium to burn on. I personally have not tried gourds. Another good one, if you have a Goodwill shop nearby, I frequent the Goodwill shops and pick up wooden spoons and spatulas.
Oh, that's a good idea. Look at that. That's cool.
So there gives you an idea of what you could do on a wooden spatula. Little Celtic pattern there.
That is awesome.
That is neat.
As a sample on the other side, a little flower.
That is cool. Hey, I like that. Never would have thought about that. Now that's those wooden spoons or whatever is that bamboo? It looks
not.
That's not bamboo?
No, this one is not.
Okay. Have you ever burnt into bamboo?
I have. I do have some that are bamboo, and it works okay. The grain in bamboo is a little bit more difficult to burn, but the trick is you just don't push the tip down hard. If you're pushing the tip down hard, you're going to drop into grooves or the soft part of the grain.
Right.
And then it makes it hard to make straight lines when you're going cross grain.
Right.
I didn't think to grab. I might demonstrate on this bowl here.
I understand what you're talking about because I talk about that on the Scrolling with Russ over there on my scroll saw. When you get in certain woods, and pine is one of them. Pine is easy to cut, but you have that problem too because the blade wants to go to the path of least resistance, which is the soft part. And when it gets on those hard, darker yellow colors of the pine, it can wander a little bit and get off the line. And I've told people before, it's not their fault. It's that's doing that. Sometimes it's the grain of the wood. So I never figured that a burner would have that effect too.
Right. Oak is another one that's tough to burn.
Ah, okay.
When you're using bamboo, sometimes you'll get bamboo scraps or something, and it's old pieces of scrap flooring or something like that, where they laminate a bunch of it together to make a bigger piece. Does the glue and the lamination or whatever, if you try to do that, does that kind of screw the thing up?
I haven't tried to burn across glue lines. And then I briefly mentioned it. Paper is another one that you can burn on. If you go to like a Michael's or Joann's or AC Moore and buy their heavyweight 90 bond, I think, paper, heavyweight paper, you can burn on paper. You just have to be aware that it's obviously not as thick as wood and what your medium is underneath the paper. I have a cookie sheet that has no raised sides on it. It's perfectly flat. And so you can lay paper or anything on top of it and you don't have to worry about fighting the edges. So the next thing is temperature versus tip speed. I'm going to change tips here.
And to those out there in the chat too, I try to watch it, and I know like Jim and a few and Alan, everybody on the panel tries to watch it too for your questions. If you type in a question real quick and don't get asked or answered, it scrolls by sometimes real quick. So just type it in 2 or 3 more times. Don't get upset that we're missing it, and we'll catch it before it's over with.
Yeah, I want to add something. If they address it to me or to one of the other panel members, it becomes highlighted and you can actually see it. You know,
so they would go like at.
Yes.
Okay.
At OD, and it'd be at Odessa Woodworking. It would just come up.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
As long as I've been doing, I think that's part of the new thing they're going to do.
Well, you did know it because you said at. Yes, exactly. But yeah, it helps a lot. Some people say to capitalize it and stuff, but I think if you do that, it really highlights it.
Russ, quit telling us you don't know how to do something when we clearly know you do.
Well, no. I just realized what he said. It was the at that you have to add in front of it. Shut up, Ken.
Debbie, you're going to get kicked off.
Yep.
Ken's our panel Nazi.
What?
Okay. So one other thing that, again, Brenda can add to, since she has the Walnut Hollow unit. So just so that you can see, my tip is cold. Okay. My heat is off. I'm going to turn my heat on. And I don't pay attention to the numbers. I get used to the clock position. And after about that long, my tip is almost, and I don't know if you can see this, I'm burning little dots. Let's see if I can put that help there.
That's awful quick.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
So about 8 to 10 seconds, and I'm burning. And as fast as I can turn the heat off, take the tip off, put a new tip on, and turn the temperature back on is how fast I can change tips.
Now I grab a hold of the end of that sucker.
Yeah, no.
Well, I got a question for you.
Stick out your tongue, Russ.
I got a question for you, Michael. You said you can change the tip out, but if you turn it off right now, if you grab a hold of the tip, it's going to burn you. So how do you change the tips?
Okay, so let me get this where you can see it. All right. So you see this hand, right? The heat's off.
Yes, sure is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's my tip puller. The tip's off.
Now that's freaking awesome.
I dropped in my wonderful homemade foil tray. Grab one that's cold, hopefully. Pop it in. Temperature's on. As long as it takes me to get comfortable. This tip has a little more metal up here, so it's going to take maybe 12 or 14 seconds to warm up.
No, but I understand. That's pretty nice. I like that idea of being able to change the tips out like that.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Boy, if they made that with a soldering iron tip on it, I'd jump on it in a heartbeat.
You ain't
I'd
kidding.
kill 2 birds with 1
Yeah,
stone
me
for
too.
me.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so it's quick turnaround. Yeah, I gotta. The other thing I was gonna say is, let me go back to the other tip. I don't know if it's cold yet, so I'm just going to be careful here. Put it right back in without touching it.
Yeah, it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Give it a few seconds to. As you mentioned a little bit earlier, Russ, when you first set your tip down, if you're talking and not thinking about it, or you're planning for your next draw, your next burning on your project, and your tip is heating, it's somewhat superheating or overheating. And then when you go to touch your project, you get that big black blurb. And that's because the tip was overheated. And as soon as you touch the wood starts drawing the temperature out. So there's a couple things you can do to avoid that. One of them is blow on the tip. Blow on it and then go right to the wood. Or go to your doodle board, draw around on your doodle board. Now you're ready to go to your project and do your drawing on your project. That's typically what I do. I will draw on my doodle board, get the motion in my hand, kind of muscle memory. I'm happy with it. It looks good, and then I'll go right to my project and repeat it. You can vary your darkness or your burning, the amount of burning. Get this. By moving, you can move slow for, there I'm picking up a little bit of grain, the little blurbs.
Yep.
I'm moving so slow it's burning fairly deep into the, but if you move fast, you're going to get lighter burns. So you can control how dark by the speed as well as the temperature.
Now, I know it kind of sounds like a stupid question, I guess, but you could also darken the lineup by going back over it a little bit again, right?
Yeah, you could. There are times where you're doing really fine detail, and I don't know how your eyes are, but sometimes for me, it's hard to hit that line again.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so
are those little bumps caused by the needle tip kind of bouncing over the high and low spots, or is it like sapping the wood?
It's the wood is sanded to 400 or something like that. It's pretty smooth. What it's doing is it's actually settling into the softer parts of the wood. Okay.
So it's kind of like between the growth rings kind of thing?
Yeah. So my growth rings are this way. And if I'm going across them, now I've got a hot tip here, so let me get it cooled. If I run the pen, as opposed to going sideways, if I run it this way, parallel to the direction of movement, it's not so bad. Now I'm awkward here because I braced myself down on the table. It's not so bad. Going sideways, it's a little bit different. It's like working with a ballpoint pen. You know, it's more comfortable pulling the pen toward your hand than it is going sideways. for me anyway. So different tips. This tip here, I'm not sure how well we'll be able to see. This tip is the what they call the writing tip. It's basically just wire bent into a sharp radius, and you use it like it was a ball. It's really like a half a ball, kind of like it's got flat edges. That's the writing tip. This is a double-edged skew. I use this for either fine detail on the tip, usually not going sideways, but pulling towards my hand, But you can also lay the tip down pretty flat and use a lot of the tip to kind of do a sweeping curve pattern, nice smooth curve with it. I've got a little straight skew that I pretty much do mostly just straight lines with. And any of these tips, you can use them any way that you can imagine. This double-edged skew, you could run it real low and actually just put the tip down and get almost like a diamond shape pattern and use it for texturing in like a diamond shape dots. So that's a straight edge skew, short skew. This one is another writing tip, but it's I don't know if you can see it, it's a micro ball. So right on the end, there's a tiny ball that's, I don't know the exact dimensions, but I'm going to say a 32nd of an inch in diameter. And it's for very fine lines, going any direction. And then this one is the shading tip. It's curved so you can lay it down flat and actually shade in areas using it flat.
Cool.
This one is another skew. It's a larger single-edge skew. It has a radius on this bottom heel that you can either use it to draw straight lines this way, or you can tip the pen back and do your curved lines. Those are probably the most basic tools. I think Klingspor's kit comes with the writer, the shader, the double-edged skew, and the little straight skew, I believe.
How much are tips? Like if I want to buy extra ones, how much are they normally? Like $5 or $10 or?
Yeah, they're not that bad. They're typically, I'd say, in the range of $8 to $12 or $13, depending on how much metal they are and how elaborate the work is that went into making them. They're not bad.
Next question that comes to my mind is, how long do they last?
Yeah. If you take care of them, I mean, we're not sanding them. We're not, I don't strop mine ever other than on the blue jean material. I've never had one burn out. I don't run my tips red hot.
Okay, so in other words, they pretty well last for a long, long time.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
They should. Now, if you want to do custom stuff, I've gone ahead and made my own pens because I wanted to make some tips that I couldn't find, couldn't buy anywhere. This is nothing more than a RCA connector, like a stereo connector. That's what the
Hey, by the way, we're hearing the printer in the background. It sounds like trumpets to me.
It's not bad. Don't go on. Don't worry about it. But he's right. It does sound like almost every once in a while it's giving you a serenade.
Hey, you want to catch up with a couple of questions?
Sure. Go ahead. Thank you.
Oh, where'd we go? Katie, are other tip shapes available?
Yeah. Let me show you a couple here. Now, I personally have bought a couple that go with the Coldwood. A couple that I showed you here in my selection. Here's a flat little. Oops. Let me trade. Give you a lighter background so you can see them. This one is a small little. It's flat, like a little paddle. Sharp pointed. I don't know if you call it a skew. It's like a flat writer, but you can't really write with it. It's like a rounded end knife. I don't know how to describe it. Not bad, not expensive.
Yeah, I think that they have. I've looked at some of the different machines, and they have hundreds of tips of. I mean, not hundreds, but they have just a lot of tips available for whatever you want. But now you have to realize that each machine, like the one that Brenda has and the one that Michael has, are their tips do not interchange. In other words, Brenda's machine won't go to Michael's won't go to Brenda's. So you're limited to whatever tips you buy from the manufacturer of whatever the burner you buy from. So
some of them, like there's a burner called Razor Tip. Razor Tip on the end of the cable has the male RCA.
Right.
Has this one. So somebody, and I don't know who did it, made up an adapter that converts the male. It's a double male, so that you can use this pen, or actually it's not this pen, it would be the Razor Tip pen on this burner. And then the double female, so that you could use the Coldwood pen on the Razor Tip burner.
Right.
So there are ways to use other manufacturers' pens on competitors' burners.
We had another question from Jeff Robinson. He wanted to know if you knew what the advantages of the Colwood versus the Walnut Hollow burners are.
Well, probably one of the biggest advantages is the speed at which it heats up. Right, Brenda? You agree?
Yes, it takes a little longer for the Walnut Hollow to heat up. It is on a regulator so that you can use it at a lower temperature, at a higher temperature, depending upon what you want to burn on. But yes, it takes a few extra seconds there for the Walnut Hollow to heat up compared to that one.
Okay. Also, when changing tips on the Walnut Hollow, it's a threaded tip. So you have to have a pair of pliers.
Correct.
Tip, and then unscrew the tip from the pen.
That is correct.
So that's probably the biggest. Other than that, you pay a little bit more money for the Coldwood. The Walnut Hollow is going to be a little more compact.
It's just like with any other tool. How many cordless drill manufacturers are there out there? How many scroll saws manufacturers? They have several different wood burner manufacturers. So a couple of things that you want to look for is what's your price range? What can you afford when you're going to go out there and buy one of these things? And so that's one of the things. And then, yes, it goes down the line. The easier of use, the easier of tip change, all that other kind of stuff can play into.
By the way, Russ,
yes,
if we can mention Manisa.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
Manisa Robinson on Facebook uses a walnut hollow.
Yes.
And I'll bet you, I don't know the exact, but I'm going to say 80 or 90% of the burning she does is with the shader.
Yeah, you're right. I've watched some of her stuff that she's produced as far as videos, whatever she has out, and some of it trying to learn. And you're right, she does a lot of it with the shader.
Yeah. So you can, no matter what your hardware is, you can do great work with it. It's just you have to adapt to its pros and cons or idiosyncrasies, however you want to say it.
They want to know the specific name of the burner you're using. It's Calwood, Calwood.
Colwood.
CO. Okay.
Cub.
All right. Colwood Cub.
And there's also a link on here, woodburning, www.woodburning.com. But I encourage you, I don't know if you live in North Carolina, because I think that's where all the Clean Sport stores are, or you can, I don't know if they mail order the bundle or not. You can check their website and see. But the bundle, in my opinion, is a good deal. And if you can get to the extravaganza in October, they typically sell the bundle for like $106 or $109.
That's a real good deal.
Greatly discounted.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, on Facebook, type in her name's what? Manisa?
Manisa, Minisa.
Yeah, and she does wood burning. She is like, whoa, one of the top wood burners. She produces DVDs and all kinds of stuff and books and stuff on wood burning. I actually, I was talking about this on the pre-show last year in the beginning of the year in 2017. I talked to her about coming on the show. She doesn't have, she has very poor, where she lives, very, very poor internet, almost dial-up speed internet, she told me. And she had no way of streaming, in other words, camera or whatever, for her computer to be able to do that. So, but she's really, really good. Not saying anything about Michael or Brenda. It's just she's up there in one of those classes that are way above everybody else. But
she's far above my skill set. She is a true artist. I'm not really, I don't consider myself an artist. I struggle to burn anything without a pattern.
Right.
I can doodle with it, but without a pattern, some people look at the wood and they see what's supposed to be there. But by trade or by profession, I'm actually an electrical engineer.
I'm like you, Michael, when it comes to scroll saw. I have to draw the pattern and put it on the wood in order to be able to cut. If you ask me to freehand something, it looks like crap. Yeah. So I'm in the same aspect. I can draw the pattern in Corel and I can take it over to the wood and mount it on it and cut it. But as far as me being able to look at something and scroll it out in my mind that ain't gonna happen. So yeah, she is a real, but there's a lot of people like that. And with her, for instance, that's her art. I mean, she started burning and she's with the burner to wood like an artist with a brush with paint on an easel or on a canvas, I should say. So she's she's fantastic. She's really good.
Yeah, it's a combination of the talent and hopefully having the right tools too. Donna was mentioning out there that she has some tools that are 15 years old with old style tips and no temperature control. Before she can even start the clock, she has to turn them on and stuff. And I'm sure she's battling with it. Yeah.
Exactly. So
skill is definitely important.
So speaking of patterns and drawing, to give you an idea of what I do, what my process is for burning, I start with either, in this case, like a photograph of the eagle, or I go out to the internet. You can see over here the lion head. Pull an image that I like off the internet, size it to my wood, and then print it. And then from the print, pull the pattern. From the print, I will tape, just like you see, a couple pieces of blue painter's tape on the top or side or bottom.
To flip?
I'm sorry?
To flip it? To flip it up?
So that you can see it.
Yes.
To make sure you've got all the lines that you need to burn.
Very nice.
Okay. How do you tell what lines you've traced? I basically trace the image. I do this in my dining room window or in my shop window. When it's daylight out, hold it up to the window, then trace the image. And I don't know if you can see it here, but I typically use one of these old style multiple color pens. So I'll trace it, for example, in like black from the photo. And then when I've got my image traced, I'll lay my paper, position it on the wood, tape it down again. I use the same painter's tape, tape it down in one place, and then use another color. In this case, I used red. And then, where is it? I use graphite paper.
Yeah.
Almost white on this side and black on this side. This is the graphite side. So putting this side down underneath. And to give you an idea where you can get it, this is, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby in Hickory. This is Walnut Hollow graphite paper. You can get it at Michael's. You can get it at, I think, Joann's, most of the art stores. It's pretty cheap, but to give you an idea, again, I don't know if you can see it on here, how much this has been used. Yeah. Lines. I've been using this paper for 5 years.
Holy crap!
One paper.
Wow.
It works.
You're just frugal, Michael. Don't let them get on you about it.
I thought I was cheap.
If it transfers your line, that's all you need.
Hey, Michael?
5 years? I'm going to go buy a pack of that stuff and send it to you, dude.
Hey, Michael.
He's worse than you with sandpaper.
Yeah, I know.
Since you've had that piece of graphite paper for 5 years, do you have any of your completed work handy that you could show us?
We're getting there.
Asking.
We're getting there. He's working everybody up there.
So the eagle's done. Okay, the eagle's done underneath here.
Okay.
So the next thing is the red pen I traced all the black lines with the red pen. That way I know I've traced all my lines and the complete pattern is transferred. Okay, at that point, you start burning your image.
Wow, that's nice.
Cool, very cool.
And
That
then,
is nice.
Wow, I didn't even see him use the burner.
That was super fast.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Talk about
I'm going to buy that one. Jeez, you don't have to do any work. Look at that.
and then from the pattern, it's, you know, I use the picture for tones, how dark, how light, you know, and you pick different tools. That looks like a shading tip. The majority of this was done with the shading tip.
That's beautiful, man.
There's a little bit of detail in the feathers that was done with the skew.
That's beautiful.
The eye was done with the writing tip because I needed just a small contact area.
I was just gonna say, Michael, you have to excuse my panel. They can be kind of like
That's all right.
No, but that is beautiful. That is from taking that, showing us through what you did into that is pretty. Wow.
So here's a
You're
couple.
getting everybody in the chat's going like, wow, he's that good, and those are awesome. That's awesome. So.
Here's another one. Here's a wolf that I did, and that was the same technique. It was photograph, traced it. A lot of these, to give you an idea, like this line you see here along the edge of the fur, I actually traced that line just so I had a boundary edge, a rough boundary edge of where the edge of the fur was. And then all the fur was just freehand. Right.
You trace the line to show you where you needed it to stop at, and then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's good.
Look at the eyes on that thing.
Yeah.
You know.
I know they. I mean, both. Even the eagle eye looked fantastic.
Yeah, they look like they're alive.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like he's looking at you.
Here's another one that I added a little bit of color to. It's kind of a Celtic dragon. I got this pattern off the internet. And in case you're wondering or thinking or about to ask it, where to find patterns on the internet, you can search for pyrography patterns, tracing patterns, carving patterns, Celtic patterns, Celtic knots. One place that I found not too long ago, and some people have opinions about it, is Pinterest. There are a lot of amazing, great patterns on Pinterest. So you've seen the lion sitting here. There's the lion. There's the pattern. And there's the traced image from the graphite paper.
All right.
So it's enough that you can see it. And that's really all you need.
That's why you need some more graphite paper.
It doesn't need to be any darker for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Shelley's right. It would be a lot darker if you changed graphite paper.
Yeah, 5 years later, I mean, it's time to, you know.
It's time to move on.
And
I don't even have sandpaper 5 years old.
One thing
He's lying.
nobody or you ought to know is the reason for the graphite paper is using a white art eraser. You can come in and erase those lines if the graphite lines are still there.
Oh, that's cool.
And you won't hurt your burning.
Wow. Didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's why you don't use carbon paper.
Oh, because if you use carbon paper, what, it wouldn't erase like that?
Yeah. There is an eraser that you can use for carbon paper. I'll show it to you.
It's called razor blade.
By the way, the razor blade, since we brought the razor blade up, I'm gonna show you something here. This is how you do the eye of the eagle or the wolf. Maybe the wolf is better. Just gonna do this real quick without a lot of. All right, so pretend that's an eye. Remember, I'm not an artist. If you take your razor blade and come in right on the corner, jam it in and flick it out, you can flick out a piece of wood. Get it? Flick out a piece of wood and you'll have like a little light shimmering spot. Well, trying not to get into the camera, but anyway, that one didn't work too well. But that's how we did the eagle.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Let's see if I can do it up here in one of these dark spots.
So yeah, I didn't know there was a difference between graphite paper and just regular carbon paper, because I do marquetry and I've been using carbon paper, and it's hard to erase the carbon paper, and I never even knew really about graphite paper. Yeah. So this piqued my interest, and I'm going to order some. That's awesome.
Yeah, graphite paper is a wonderful thing, and
it's a little more expensive than carbon paper.
I got 5 years.
Yeah,
use it for 5 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. If you've been using it for 5 years, I guess. I don't think you could use carbon paper for 5 years.
No.
About 5 times.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the price on here or not. It says $613 on the bottom of this package. This is a single sheet, 12 by 24 inches. So it's a good sized piece. I'd cut it up into smaller pieces, and hey, if you have to move it around under your pattern, so what?
Yeah, so you said $615 for 12 by 24.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a price or not. I don't see one marked on here, but it's a single sheet.
Right.
I know if you go to like Michael's, I think they have it in a roll, like a saran wrap roll.
Okay.
And it's expensive. It's like $25, but you're buying like 100 yards of it.
Right.
If it lasts 5 years, man, you got a deal.
Well, I was going to say, if you bought a roll at 5 years and what he's saying, well, that'd last you a damn lifetime.
Each sheet.
Yeah. I'd grow old and die before I'd use it all.
You can leave it to your kids.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, when we get to burning, I'm going to take the pattern off here. So I'm pretty much done with the pattern now, unless I want to do another one. And I usually save all mine. And it's down to the image and the piece. I always start with the background first. So start with the shader and shade the background areas. I start with my temperature lower because it's easier to add more and it's harder to take it away. You take it away with the razor blade.
Right. Just real quick before you get started, while you're heating that up, Katie said she found it at Woodcraft, has 6-piece package of 18 by 24 for $8.95, and then Ken found it at Michael's for 20 sheets, 8 by 11 for $13. So it's really not way overpriced. So
yeah, and Michael's, if you find their 40 or 50% off coupon, it's a great deal.
yeah, so it's not. Now I do admit it's more than carbon paper, because you can buy a whole big thing of carbon paper for like $5.
So I'm testing on my doodle board for temperature, and I'm still a little bit too dark, so I'm going to turn down a little bit. Another thing that's good to do when you're burning to avoid the hot blurb at the beginning of your burn is do like an airplane, takeoff and landing. So if you're coming into land, you come into land and you're in the air. You're in the air and you come down and you land. And you keep moving. You don't stop. I'm just working along this dark edge of the mouth here. Once I touch the wood, my tip cools back down.
You may say you're not an artist and you have to use the patterns like you're using them, which so be it. But you've got talent, my friend, because a couple of that wolf and a few things, that eagle and everything, those are beautiful.
Thank you. Well, as I tell people at the Klingsport Extravaganza, you know, when I'm there, I usually have a couple extra, at least one extra burner set up for people to test and play with, and have wood there. I tell them I'm not an artist. I just know how to trace. So,
you trace very well.
yeah. So that's pretty much it. A little at a time. Work from lighter to darker.
How long did it take you to make the, it is an estimate, how long did it take you to make the wolf?
Well,
I know you're going to say it took me 6 months.
No, actually, it was probably about a 4-hour project.
Wow.
Because I was going slow.
Wow. Yeah, but still, I would think that's fast.
Well, I mean, it's once you get comfortable with the tip, the burner, and the temperatures, and how it feels and how it burns, it actually you start to pick up speed and it moves along pretty good.
Right. If you want to do a little bit more burning before we get off on this, so you can show people.
I was going to show you.
I do have a little question.
Not only can you burn on flat pieces, but and this little bowl has a little story. This is actually spalted holly, and it wasn't supposed to have a walnut base. I was on a finished pass. I was chucked up on a mortise in the bottom of the bowl, and I was doing just a finished skim cut on the inside. Where's the light? Finished skim cut on the inside, and the bottom fell out. And that's not a disaster. That's a design opportunity.
Exactly.
So I just cleaned up the hole a little bit. Found a walnut, turned a plug that was a squeaky tight fit in the hole. Made everything fit good and tight. Glued it up, And then I chuck this in my cold jaws, finish the bottom, and I usually burn my name. In the bottom. I try to burn the type of wood if I know it and the date. And then imagine the holly bowl with the walnut plug, and I thought that looks kind of funny, but it reminds me of something like a compass point.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so this is actually where I got the inspiration from. Actually, I had another pattern here somewhere.
I like that. Now you just open up a whole new field. I was thinking like, wow, you could turn a maple bowl and then go down and use the wood burner to make designs in the bottom of that maple bowl. That would be awesome.
Right. And then also I was gonna show you got sidetracked.
I think Russ Meadows also had a question. Go ahead, Russ, ask him.
Yeah, I was wondering about the temperature changes and stuff when you have to make the shadings and stuff. How do you know what temperature to drop it to or raise it up to?
That's what the doodle board's for.
Okay.
The cold wood, when I turn the temperature down, I don't know if you can see it, the little white arrow on the knob.
Right.
I maybe turn it a 64th or a 32nd and test it again.
Oh, okay.
It's super sensitive a little bit. You can really notice a little bit on the tip.
And Michael, I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, but what are other good kinds of woods to burn with? I mean, you're playing around with pine, and I think we talked about oak and bamboo. Now you got some maple tossed in here. What are other, like maybe basswood, something like that?
Yeah. This is basswood.
Okay.
The majority of the flat pieces that I burn on are basswood. This is like I said, spalted holly does real nice. Maple does real nice. I've got some stuff behind me too here.
Oh, hell, bring it all out. We want to see it.
You got us hooked on this, man.
Slivers of spalted holly from the offcut from the bowl. Just again, playing around, doodle board. Here's some more.
Do you have any more of your work?
Yeah.
We want to see your work. The heck with the doodle boards.
And definitely a beautiful bowl that was.
I know. I'm amazed. I mean, looking at that, it just opens up so. I'm just like, can you imagine, Ken, turning a bowl and then going in the bottom of it and burning stuff like that? It wouldn't look that. Hey, that put your like segmented bowl to shame.
Come on now.
Whoa.
The one tip that I made, I started to. Where's the light at here? I started to do a like a woven bowl burn using this tip that I made. It's just a wound wire. I wound it around a smaller piece of wire, like a 12 gauge copper wire. Oh, and the wire that I buy is nichrome wire. It's made for heating. It's heating element wire. It stands up to the heat and reheat, the heating and cooling.
Okay.
And you can buy it. Have to look for it. I had a couple spools of it because I've done some foam cutting, hot wire foam cutting, and had a bunch of nichrome wire of different gauges left.
Okay, so if you took that and lightly sanded over the top of the burning, would you reveal more of the lines from the the burner?
Maybe. I mean, I can see him really clear here. The camera's not doing it great justice. I don't know if you can see the pattern in the.
Yeah, we can see it, but I get what Jim's saying. If you sand it a little bit, maybe it would highlight it even more.
Yeah, this is just a learning process here, playing around with it, tweaking it. I actually was working on taking one of the wire loops out because I discovered that the height or the number of loops was taller than two side by side. And ideally, you want to be able to make a square stamp. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Katie Dotson is asking, how do you, is it Nicro, N-I-C-R-O? How do you spell that?
It's, I think it's nickel chromium.
Nickel chromium. Yep.
Nickel chromium wire. Okay.
C-H-R-O-M-E. Chrome. Nichrome or nickel chromium.
Nickel chromium. You got that, Katie?
Here's
I want a full page report on that, Katie, by next week.
A few more tips that some of them, well, actually, I guess all these I purchased. This is a snake. I don't know if you could see that. A snake scale, a little snake scale tip. And these are the wire tips. I started to show it earlier. I made these pens. Inside the pen is just a number 14 gauge Romex wire. I just took the 14 gauge wire out of the Romex sheath, pushed it through the PEX PVC, couple of screw terminals, and then now I can unscrew the tip and put one of these other tips in. So now I have the versatility of being able to use the wire tip or the coldwood tip.
Okay, so everybody knows on the panel and everybody out there in the world knows, because the chat will not remain after the show. Katie told me to bite her. She said, "Bite me, Russ."
There you go.
I think
Katie.
she's gonna get you.
About time.
Hey, that's even. She gives me heck all the time, so I don't want to hear it.
She does.
Stand up to him, Katie. Don't let him bully you.
Yeah.
She says, "Keep it up, Russ, and I'll meet you in the parking lot in Atlanta."
Oh, we're scrapping now.
Sounds like a date to me.
Russ, you've told me in the past this is a PG show, so let's calm it down.
I want it on video.
Video.
We gotta have it on video. Russ getting his butt kicked by Katie.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
It'd go viral.
Good for us.
Go Katie.
Pictures.
Go Katie.
Chris wants pictures of this.
Yeah, I bet he does. All right, Michael, anything else you want to that's pretty.
Here's a couple more. Again, pattern came off the internet. This was super simple. I think this took me maybe a half hour.
Who?
And again, pattern off the internet.
Isn't that cool?
That is.
Yeah, they're not that difficult. I mean, once you've been playing around with it for a little while, and
No, but your avenue of the way to do it, as far as the tracing with the graphite paper and everything, I would have never thought about that. And I had been wondering about how to. I was going to trace mine with the carbon paper before I met you and everything and talked to you, and then now that you've introduced that, I was going to do it with the carbon paper. So I had the right thought, but the graphite paper is so much better. But yeah.
yeah.
And Michael, I'm like you. I have to have some kind of a pattern, some kind of a guide. I'm not one of those people that can just take a paintbrush on a piece of canvas and create a masterpiece. Like some other people can. I have to have some kind of a guide, but you do have talent, my friend, because some of that stuff is like the eagle and the owl. That's beautiful work.
Yeah.
Russ?
Thank you, Russ.
Russ, you can't paint happy little trees on a canvas?
No, I can't paint happy little trees on a canvas. And I never mind. I won't say that because Katie's out there and I might get my butt beat.
You're already in trouble.
I was also going to say an optimizer is helpful for fine detail, or if you're trying to drop your pen back in a line that you can barely see.
Right. I got the thing for that that's better than that, and that's this thing right here from Harbor Freight.
Is it magnifying
down here.
light?
Yeah, this magnifying light.
Yeah.
How's that toilet bowl lid?
Yep, with the toilet bowl lid.
Believe him when he tells you it works.
Yeah, that thing right there is the best thing I have. I have 3 of them now. I have one on my scroll saw, one up here on the desk, and one out there. And another.
Oh, I thought you used them all 3, stacked them all up.
That's how Russ does his wood burning. He holds a flashlight over 3 of them, and he does that. It goes right down on the wood, just burns it like it's a laser.
No, you didn't get any detail, right?
I know where you live, Al. Jim, are you going to Atlanta?
No, I'm not going to Atlanta. I'm going to Milwaukee.
Oh, well, I'll kick your butt too when I see you. You think Katie's bad? This little guy from the North Pole can.
Little.
Oh,
Shut up, Al. How do you get rid of Al where he can never come back?
Michael, I had another question about those the homemade wands that you've got. Did you use any special kind of epoxy to fill the cavity up in them, or did you just pull the wire through there and epoxy them over?
Yeah, just regular epoxy. I did.
Okay.
I did make I cut a piece of wood that went down into the tubing with a slight jam fit, jammed it in the end, and I don't know if you can. Whoops. Oh, I'm looking at Russ. Where's my camera?
Oh yeah, we got it.
So, yeah, right in between the wires is a piece of wood that I jammed in, and then it helped to keep the epoxy on top so it didn't all running down inside. So inside the tube here is pretty much hollow except for just the 2 wires running through. And then I also epoxied the RCA connector in the end. Now what I did here on the end was I put a hose clamp around it and heated it with a heat gun and then kept tightening the hose clamp. So you can kind of tell it's shrunk a little bit. Was trying to crimp it a bit. The RCA connector was really tight. I mean, really loose in the tube. So I was trying to just tighten it up a bit.
Right. Looks cool. Hey, they work, don't they?
Yeah. Really. Yeah, they work wonderfully.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, and it cost me nothing really. I had everything here.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah, Jim.
That's just PVC pipe, right?
Yeah, it's Home Depot or Lowe's 1/2 inch. I think they call it PEX tubing.
What did you just say? You just did not say that word.
The big blue store.
I didn't tell you where to get it. I just told you that there were places that you couldn't.
I thought he said orange and not blue.
Katie Dotson says, "What did you say the tube is made? It's PVC, Katie. It's like 1/2 inch Is that 1/2 inch?
Yeah, 1/2 inch.
Yeah, 1/2 inch PVC." And he said the blue word.
The blue word.
The place that I hate.
That's the same color as the shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, I know. Somebody, is that about all you got going, Michael? I mean,
last thing that is also important if you do burnings that are going to be out in the daylight, hanging in your house or someplace, is you want to put a UV protectant on them because they will fade from the UV.
Really? I never thought about that.
Yes. So, trying to look and see if I have a name here. Can't remember. I bought some. Can't remember whose it was I bought. I think I bought it at Klingspor. Where else? They're about the closest woodworking store to me anyway. So.
Just somebody was giving me heck about the Blue Store the other day. I don't remember who it was now. Said something about the Blue Store that they weren't just because I had one problem there or something. I don't remember what it was exactly they said, but I was like, I got to get rid of this. This is like, looks like a toilet bowl.
I don't know, but Donna is saying that you mean
Good thing Donald ain't here.
That you a credit card or did you cancel it? So you got a credit card at the Blue Store? Is that what it is?
You didn't know that?
Yeah,
I got a credit card at the Blue Store. Anyway, my problem is not specifically all right. I have this person was like, just because you have one problem, you don't understand. Let me explain that to you guys. I didn't have one problem. I've had so many problems that I can't count them since when I go to that store. It's like they have a lot of problems. Their products are not the problem. Real quick, I don't want to get off subject here. Their products are not the problem because they have the basic products anybody else has. Their store is not the problem. It's the people that work in there do not have no comprehension as to what they're doing and how they're working or what's going on in that store. I'm sorry.
Ooh, Hello, Donald.
Well, with the exception of, I think Donald's the only one that does know how to do or does know his job. But I mean, I've had more than one problem. I just had a problem with them the other day, and I went over there. And the only reason I did was because they had something on sale, and I had the card that I got 20% off with. So it's hard to keep going. It's hard for me not to go in there because yes, I do go in there. But then when I get to find these people that are just,
Russ, we love giving you a hard time. You realize,
but they're just not. They're not. I don't want to say they're not intelligent. They just have no. I think they hire them and they say, "Oh, you know something about plumbing? Yeah, I changed my toilet seat one time. Okay, you're in plumbing.
I know how to spell it."
So that's what I think you electrical. Oh yeah, I changed the light bulb in my dining room light. Oh well, you're going to electrical.
Hey, according to Donald though, they ask him, "What do you know?" And when they say, "I know this," they put him in another department.
He told him he knew about lumber and stuff like that, and they put him in electrical. And he goes, "I have no clue what I'm doing in electrical." So there you go.
I heard today he was demoing toilets.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. All right, we're getting totally off subject here, and I didn't mean to go there. So sorry about that. But anyway, but yeah, I had a company, and I'm sorry for you guys. I forget you. It's been a while back, but they out of nowhere they sent me a little wood burner, and I looked for the name of this thing, and I still can't find it on it. But they sent me this little burner to try. They sent me a little note and everything saying, "Hey, we watched your show and said you wanted to do some wood burning, so try our wood burning." I lost the note now, but this one, though, a little bit different about it is compared to, it has the tips that Michael has, but it actually has you change the tips out. It has the control. I burnt with it one time. I put it on, and now I'm going to try it because after watching Michael tonight, he's got me interested. But it has the temperature control. Now it's just a 110. You just plug it in. And they send you this. Where's it at? Itty bitty screwdriver. It's cute. I mean, really is, to change out the tips on here. And then they
Harbor Freight for free.
And then they send the tips different types of tips. So they sent this to me to try, and I burnt one thing. I wrote my name in the bottle on something in wood with this tip right here, just trying it out and everything. But now that I've seen Michael and how he does it with the graphite paper and everything, I'm going to definitely try this. What I like about Michael's the most is the way the tips changes. Now, we've had several questions, and I don't mean to get off of Michael, but Brenda, several people have asked if you could show your wood burner just as a comparison.
Yes, sir. This is a walnut hollow wood burner.
Okay.
The tip screws out. Now if it's hot, you obviously use pliers, but you screw the tip out.
I hope it's not hot.
No, I swear I use soldering irons that are just like that, Brenda.
Yeah.
And you screw another tip in, and that's how simple it is to change the tips. And here I am dropping the tip, but I like it because it has a regulator.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we see that part? Okay.
There's the regulator, and you can go anywhere from the low temperatures. That's for glass and plastic down on the low end, and then you go up to the high end, which is your woods, for however hot you want it to get.
Okay.
And there again, you test it. You always test it on your scribble board.
Brenda, do you know the wattage of that wood burner? And really the reason why I'm asking this is because that looks so much like a soldering iron. I know there's little soldering stations that have heat regulation.
It's in effect nothing more than a soldering iron.
Pardon me?
It is really nothing more than a soldering iron, but
what wattage?
I'm looking at the back of the regulator here to see.
The soldering irons are like 25 watt, 40 watt.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it depends on the wattage or the iron.
I don't know. I've got an old gun welder, and that thing's got to be 1,000.
And those are higher. The guns are actually higher wattage.
Right.
Yeah, that's got to be like a 10,000 watt because you pull the trigger on that thing, and it's like.
I've got the same looking soldering iron, but it doesn't have a regulator on it.
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to bet now that she showed it, that tip probably screws out on mine.
Yes, it does.
Mine does.
Yeah.
And I think the key is the regulation or the the adjustment plus the tip, because you have to, different shapes and stuff.
Right. Okay, it says on the back of this, it's 200 watt to, I think it says 1,200, but I'm not going to swear to that because I can't make it out real good here.
Holy crap.
Okay. But yes, it gets hot.
Yes.
They laugh at me on my show when I'm talking about it. And I said, look, this thing gets hot.
Sterling Davis says, yeah, I have the same one, Brenda.
Yeah. See, I bought a soldering iron, and it came with all these tips. And they screw in and out and stuff.
Yes.
So,
and you can buy that particular, was it orange?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Because I've seen the orange one with the different chip changes. They sell it like Hobby Lobby for wood burners.
Yeah, I've got a cheap one around here someplace. I rarely use it. It doesn't have a regulator.
No, it doesn't have a regulator.
Yeah, it's okay if you want to have an extra one going just for minor little things that you need to do, where you're not wanting to change your tip out on it all the time, and then you have your one with a regulator that you can change. But that one without the regulator is only good for wood because it gets hot, and that you're not going to use it on glass or plastic or your paper or any other medium.
Oh, man.
Brenda, does your handle get hot?
No. The handle up here on this one from the rubber part up does not get hot. But you get any place down here around this metal part, when you're holding it with your hand, you don't want to get past that lip. If you get past that lip, you're going to get burnt. Hey, where that rubber handle is on
the voice of experience.
Yeah.
I asked you to watch Manisa burn. She does do some demo videos on YouTube, and a lot of times she's wearing what looks like a leather glove, a heavy, almost like an oven mitt glove.
Well, she might be more sensitive too. There, you know, some people's skin's more sensitive to heat than others. You know, I was raised on a farm, and so, you know, my hands are kind of calloused up from a lot of hard farm work and stuff. So my hands aren't all that sensitive, but some people are very sensitive to heat. So you might need to have a heat resistant glove on if it bothers you that much.
Yeah, my wife is very sensitive to heat. She says I'm hot.
Oh.
Getting late. Getting thick in here.
Oh, Nancy.
Getting deep in here.
Not only getting late, getting deep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Michael, can't say thank you enough. I appreciate it.
I think we have a confession coming, don't we?
Yeah, we can do that. But I hope you have had as much fun as we have, because we've learned a ton from you. We have this little thing called
Woodshop Confession.
Yeah, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of something else. But anyway, Woodshop Confessions, and that is where you tell us what the dumbest thing you've ever done in your shop or woodburning or whatever. You know, like you just did something like we had Mike Fulton sit here one night and tell us that he was holding a piece of wood and decided with a brand new drill bit to drill through the wood and drill right in the palm of his hand. So, do you have any wood shop confession to tell us before we get off of here?
You caught me off guard. I'm going to have to think about that. Nothing comes to mind right away.
Oh, you're so
come on.
Full of crap. Never mind.
We all have moments that you don't forget.
Now you grab the hot end of that iron at one point or another.
Steve Good even I get Steve Good's emails every a day or so whenever he puts them out and whatever. And he even had one the other day. He said he was doing something like he was holding something. Oh yeah, he drilled into his finger. He was holding something, trying to drill through it, and drilled with a real small drill bit for scrolling right into the end of his finger, I think it was. So
it almost come out the other side.
Yeah. So I mean, so you don't have anything, Michael? You can't tell us anything that you...
Right off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Michael's gonna be one of those people.
I mean, you know, I've got all the equipment and I use it all, so it's like, well, was it on the lathe? Was it on the table saw? The bandsaw?
Anything ever gone flying and you kind of duck and say a couple of choice words or anything?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's a good one. I was at a open house when Klingspor's store in Raleigh moved to Cary, North Carolina. They had an open house, and I was down there turning on a lathe, turning a piece of wood.
Wood, yeah.
Oh, there we are.
That's what they call a pregnant pause.
It was a tree stump that had 3 limbs coming out in different directions, and I was trying to make a kind of like a live edge bowl, and it decided it didn't want to be in the lathe anymore.
Ow.
So
in there.
Donna's Wood Art. Donna Presley wants to know: have you ever touched the hot end when it was on?
Oh, no, I haven't.
I
mean,
he's lying. He's lying.
He's got the tip changer, so
yeah.
Look at my burner. You know, the pen sits in a little storage clip.
Yeah, he's got the thing that changes it out.
And the tip is, you know, the tip is pretty small. I mean, I can hold this thing way down here. So
right.
Well, one thing you have to keep in mind when you're working with this, although it is a pen, You do not touch it to your tongue before you start writing.
That's for sure.
Make sure the tip stand.
And Michael, I have a question for you real quick. I know like Brenda, she paints her designs sometimes. Do you paint or do you ever color your projects at all?
It's a good question. The most coloring that I've done, I think, was on that one little Celtic dragon. Where'd it go here?
Yeah,
Right.
I saw that.
Yeah, that little bit of pink. That was just an experiment.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm not a painter either. I haven't gone that far yet.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Oh, Katie Dotson said the fun is when you drop it in your lap. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. The heat is on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll bet you that can. All right. Well, once again, thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. I've gained a wealth of information. I think most of the people has too. So about this, I appreciate it very much for you being on tonight.
And hey, if anybody has any questions about anything, if you can't remember something, feel free to message me on Facebook or wherever you can find me on the internet.
Yeah, it's Michael Mathews over on Facebook. Yeah, 1T. And I'll put the link. Try to put the link down in there so you over for his Facebook. Guys, we're gonna close out for tonight. Thank y'all all for being over there, and I'm sorry I haven't paid as much attention to the chat tonight, but we've been real busy. Michelle Marcoux has been out there, Donna Presley, Paul John, Life, Katie Dotson as usual. She's always out there. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate you supporting me so very much. Tom Spillane. Let's go back through and see. I know there's been a lot more people. Paul Granger has been out there. Sterling Davis visited us tonight. Good to see you, Sterling. Chris Nealon, he's been out there. Just trying to go back through real quick and see Jeff Robinson, the different people that's been out in the chat and supporting us. We have had a bunch of y'all out there tonight, and I appreciate you so very much keeping us entertained in the chat also. And I try to get over there as much as I can. And the panel has done a real good job for helping me with the questions and everything. Once again, for what are you holding up, Michael?
I was going to say one last thing. I just saw it sitting here at the table. This is a Sue Walters book, Pyrography workbook that I picked up. And one of the nice things about this book is in the back, they have a whole bunch of different textures.
Okay.
And on the other page, in the same square, they tell you what tip they used and what technique they used.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
But to get those different patterns, huh?
Yeah. Those different patterns. And don't tell her, but I've gone as far as.
Because I'm with
all right, guys.
All the time.
We're going to close out here. Thank you once again for all y'all being out there. Jim Richardson is out there in the chat. He's a name I didn't call out before. I hadn't seen him in the chat. And thank you, Brenda. Tell Debbie thank you also. And Chris and Jim and Ken. And Ken Moon's always restraining himself to try to be good. And Al and Russ Meadows. And Shane and Shelley, Cole for being on.
We are glad to be here.
You're all most welcome, and thank y'all for being here. And thank once again to Michael for all he showed us. And I'm going to take my little wood burner and try to burn some stuff here.
You're going to go down another rabbit hole. I see it.
Yep, try to do some stuff. Well, the thing about it is when he mentioned about that burning in the bottom of the bowls, that just wow. My mind exploded at that point thinking about, and I'd say Ken should be thinking the same way about, can you imagine all the possibilities, Ken?
I can, but I don't want to because
I just think it'd be kind of hard as you're on the lathe, and you're turning your bowl to try to, get the wood burner to burn it.
Yeah, how do you fit that in there with the gallon?
Oh, you can do. Oh, you can do some nice thin. You can do some nice thin lines all the way around.
I bet you could.
Inside.
Just don't get the cord caught while it's spinning. That's all.
Right?
Anyway, I can't go anywhere with these guys. They always get
Don't you forget.
Thank you for being on. Thank you for Michael again. Thank you for fantastic out there in the chat. Everybody, just thank you. You've all been wonderful and great. I appreciate you so very much. There's only one thing we got left to do, and that is just give me sawdust. Lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Good night, everybody. God bless. Thank you for watching.
Good night, y'all. Thanks for coming.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Right on.